All right, but Gucci. Bit check.
Yo, what up, y'all? Thank y'all for continuing the conversation. You know what I'm
sir.
saying? Getting back into understanding and forgiving our parents. We got into some deep stuff last time. Some heavy conversations, some emotion that came out of that. A lot of stuff to uncover, to heal from. But we also got to give y'all the fit check. You know what I'm saying? Got to have a little fun with it.
Got to. Go ahead, kick it off, man. I want to know how you coming. What names we can't pronounce today?
I went with I'm on year ones today.
Okay.
Yo, shout out Mark Nebetta, man. Yo,
You seen
shout
the 12s
out James. Yeah. No, the 12s that just dropped is dope.
Oh, they just dropped? Wow.
Yeah. I think we dropped in March. That's the ones you talking about, right? The black ones and the white ones.
Yeah, they so fucking clean, but damn, the 12s aesthetic is just, I can't see it getting pulled it off right now. Like,
I used to have, the taxis, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna cop them. I seen one of my homies was just rocking some 17s the other day, and
17s go crazy.
But I feel like with jeans, fits this, like with pants, it kind of fits the same. So I feel like you could get a baggy jean over it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it could rock.
Okay.
I'll figure it out somehow. But yeah, shout out James Whitner, shout out Mark Nebetta. Appreciate y'all. The pants, Forest Design, some Japanese shit, as you already know.
Word.
This dust jacket is this company's Amsterdam company called L'Enfant. It's actually I copped it at Brooklyn Circus. Shout out Ouija, shout out Leah. And then it's a regular tee, still by hand, some Japanese shit. And then I told you last episode I was gonna bring out some copper shit.
Word.
So this is the same woman who did this piece, Asha Sun. She created this for me, or like
Where you
she
get
created
that?
this up in LA. It's like just a woman who, not just, but she works a lot of street fairs and community events and stuff. Is always in Leimert Park every week. So that's my crystal lady. So all the crystals in my crib she does, but she also does wearable shit. So I have a few of these. So yeah.
And the hair, you can't. Well, the frames is Gucci.
The frames is just my regular frames. The hair is just my regular hair.
Nigga popped up like Aunt Viv season 2. They gonna be like, yo.
Nah, man, I'm just trying to put my shit away, bro. You know me, I love hats.
Word.
So it's like once the hair gets too long for hats, I'm not fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? So
Shorty used to be so mad. She spent all that time braiding my shit. I put a do-rag on right after that shit.
Bro,
it's the only reason I got braids, so I can wear the do-rag.
You know what I'm saying? The Dewey, y'all, you know me, head wraps, the silk shit, the hat, the buckets, everything coming back in rotation.
Yeah.
Like, one thing about me, y'all should not be surprised by any style I switch up. I do every style. Every style I had locks, braids, waves, you name it.
Word.
You feel me?
Word.
Greens, potatoes, tomatoes. You feel me? What's up with you though? How you coming?
Man, let me go ahead. Let me just start from the bottom up. Got the Lanvin. Came with the Lanvin kits. Got these as a gift, so you know what I'm saying.
I'm glad you got it right.
Yeah.
Pusha T was like, I know she keep calling it Landman.
Nah, these shit's super hard. A little chunky look. These brown pants, I have no idea how these end up in my closet. I don't know where they came from. If somebody watching
how they ended up in your closet? Like, I thought you were gonna say I have no idea the brand. You don't know.
I don't know the brand. I don't know how they end up in my closet.
You got a pant fairy?
Bam, I have no
idea. Every time you lose
somebody watching this shit like, hey, I knew I lost. Somebody watching this shit like, yo, this nigga got my shit up.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a gift or something? Like,
nah, fam, I can't even tell you, bro.
You just got another nigga pants on.
Man, who knows, bro.
I'll let it rock, I guess.
These just hit, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying, came with the cream top, but really the shirt, the highlight piece, bro. This like, this probably my third.
Very proper.
Yeah, this probably my third tee of the same tee, you know what I'm saying? Bought this shit 3 times. Told my nigga Cleezy, like, yo, this is my favorite. When he
shout out Cleezy.
Yeah, shout out my nigga Cleezy.
What up, Yakton?
Yeah, the brand is Yakton, but you know what I'm saying? Like the first time I put this shit on, I was like, bro, this one of my favorite shirts.
I actually think I remember when the first time you bought the first version of the shirt.
Yeah, I'm like, I like this one of my favorite shirts. And then nigga, fast forward 2 years later, see the nigga Hove.
I was gonna say, I think Jigga threw it on.
Yeah,
Word.
Hove not only threw it on, but he coming out the Rock Nation building getting photographed all day with this shit on. You can't pay Hove 500 racks to throw no shit on.
Word,
so Hove threw that shit on. That's that stamp, you know what I'm saying? But shout out Yakton, you know what I'm saying?
Put the mug up one time.
Oh yeah, the mug is Yakton too, you know what I'm saying? Just so y'all know. Nah,
Keith broke mine today, by the way.
My bad.
So I will put mine up, but I got a no-name bottle. So
it's crazy. The one I wrapped in paper broke, and the one that was just butt naked. But yeah, but shit. Let's dive right back into it now.
Get into it, man.
Kind of talked about more so the understanding and the forgiving part. Kind of wanted to dive more into because I mean, you being a parent is also a huge factor. You get to talk about your relationship with your parents, but also you are a parent too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, where does your relationship with your parents stand now? You talked about how you've had to forgive your mama. Is your relationship with your mama? How your relationship with your mama looking these days?
Man, can I ask you a question? I'm gonna answer, but I wanna have some context just so I understand. How often do you talk to your mom?
Talk to my mom. And when you say talk, my mom contacts me. Me and my mom contact each other at least once a week minimum, but probably every 3 to 4 days. There'll be some type of communication.
On some just personal, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, what's up? And even when I was like at my busiest peak, probably a week and a half, but she gonna call me and check up on me and just.
Okay, so I've heard that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my mom, our normal was like once a quarter.
Sheesh.
Twice a quarter. You feel me? Like, yeah, a little
4 to 8 times a year.
That sounds high, but yeah, probably that.
And the reason for that is
there was no reason. There's no beef, no nothing. It's just like, why am I talking to you all the time? And my dad, I mentioned like my dad. I am really close with my dad. Mm-hmm. When I lived in Denver, we were like freaking frack, man. We out, you know what I'm saying, chilling, going whatever. But if I'm not living in Denver, I probably talk to my dad like 3 times. I don't know. It feels like 3-4 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a solid like, hour conversation. And then I'll pull up in Denver and when I pull up, I'll have real deep conversations, but I don't really feel the need to talk to people all the time anyway, period. I don't talk. There are people that talk to humans every day, like the same humans every day. That's very strange. Like to talk to somebody every day is wild. But I'll say I said that to give the context of like my mom and I are talking on a monthly basis, and it's like, oh wow, this is new, this is dope. And
I changed that.
I wanted to rebuild the relationship with my mom. Like we never had a big blowout. We never had a big, like you kind of described with you and your pops. It was never that moment, but there's certainly a lot of resentment I was holding on to. Certainly things that ways that I wished I was accepted and seen, just from like, even I wish that my curiosity wasn't a threat or a factor in the household. I remember just asking my mom, like I was 4 or 5. I grew up in, like I mentioned, I grew up in a neighborhood that's, if you have my neighborhood name tattooed on your skin, you a blood. I'll put it like that. Like if you have Park Hill on your skin, you probably CMG. You know what I'm saying? But like it's a gang neighborhood. I remember being 4 or 5 years old, I asked my mom, what's a gang? What's a gangster? She beat me for asking a question, bro. So it was just shit like that where I just felt like, damn, I wasn't allowed to thrive in your household, so I kind of probably distanced myself even based off of that.
For sure.
Like my parents never really fuck with rap or whatever, so I was always kind of like, you on some other...
Yeah.
They wasn't like, that's the devil's music type shit, but they just on some like, that's not the vibe.
Yeah, you're not feeling accepted or feeling...
They look... I print out the lyrics off of, I don't know if y'all old enough, y'all remember original
AZ
hip hop
lyrics?
original hip hop lyrics archive, ohhla.com. I'm printing out lyrics. They find that shit in my clothes. Like, what is this you listening to? Like, all type of what. But also, like, you know, like you said, your dad was a disciplinarian, my dad as well. And my mom would tell me she would hate how my dad would, you know, beat us or whatever, whoop us, not like, you know, anyway. But I'm like, but you the same person that called him over to beat me. What do you mean you hate it? Like,
Yeah,
so there was a lot of that stuff. But the biggest thing, one thing I hope people can take away is, I don't feel like we ever really had a shared language. We didn't have things that we saw eye to eye on or that talked about in the same way. And so the communication is what? Hey, how you doing? Or my mom talking about wanting to get her yard done.
You don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Mom, I don't care about.
Word.
20 years later. But I realized, I think I mentioned this in an early episode of the podcast. I realized I had a issue receiving love. And one of the reasons I had an issue receiving love is because my parents always made me feel accountable for the cost of things. I had to do you know how much it costs to give you this? Do you know how much you know, what we sacrificed for you to be here? And it made me think, well, don't do shit. Nobody do nothing for me. Because I don't want to be accountable. I don't want to be held prisoner. I don't want to be made feel guilty for receiving anything from anybody. So I'd rather not receive it because it's going to get thrown in my face at some point. That's what I've learned from my parents. That's the history, you know what I'm saying, that we have. So I don't want to receive anything. You know what I mean? That was my stance. And I realized it was preventing me from being successful in romantic relationships.
Word.
A lot of people in a row, like, you're not open to receiving love. And at some point you got to look in the mirror like, it's not y'all, it's me. And so I had to go back to my parents and think about, like, okay, how do I repair this? How do I forgive y'all for how y'all made me feel about myself or about feeling, because basically if you're saying, like, the cost is high to give you what you need, want, or, you know, would enjoy, then how you hear that as a kid is you're a burden and you're not worthy of it. So to forgive them for making me feel unworthy or making me feel like a burden to them, because I probably was a burden. Like, I don't know that my parents planned to have me. I don't know that, like, they were like, oh, this kid wants to do all these activities or whatever. Or even just being in America, fuck, this public school system is failing our child. Let's put him somewhere else. Well, there's a cost associated with that. How can we, you know, I had a scholarship to go there, but you have to fill in, you know what I'm saying, different shit or whatever.
Financial stress put a divide and a burden on families that I'm sure has destroyed many of families. The fucking financial stress. If we had no finances to worry about, the family dynamic would look a lot different.
And even when you come from, even if you're straight as a family, there's a generational standpoint on money associated with lack that Black people carry from, you know what I'm saying, from generation to generation. Boy, can't nobody do that. Do you have any McDonald's money? Is like the, you know what I'm saying? Like the way, the shorthand that we could talk about it. But it's, do you have any McDonald's money that turns into, no, you can't play this instrument. No, you can't do that. It costs what? Who you think you are? I don't pay that for such and such. Well, that's what you want to do. That's not what I want to play the saxophone. So I think there was hella shit that, like, I had to let go. And I didn't realize I was holding on to it. And one of the ways that I did that was, my mom invited me on this retreat, and I had been trying to introduce different, like, spiritual things to my mom, and
this is recent?
Yeah, she invites me somewhere. This is 2022.
Okay.
She invites me to the retreat, so I pull up with her. We go to this healing retreat, her, me, and my sister. And because we attended this thing together, and it continued on for like a 90-day sort of like challenge afterwards, we now have common language. We have common community.
Yeah.
We read a book together. I started a book club with her, me, and my sister, right? So now we're talking about things that now if you call me on a weekly basis, it's not how you doing. It's like, hey, remember in that book when it said this?
Right.
How have you done that? And you're okay, cool.
Word.
We're both entrepreneurs. Hey, what program do you use for this? Oh, I'm using Canva. Okay, cool. I'm using this. What do you think about anything? You know what I mean? But now we have some common language, which I realize is what I had with my dad the whole time.
Exactly.
Football, you know what I mean?
Yeah, always some shit to fall back on.
Yeah, we have something that we're always talking about that I'm gonna send to the group chat with him and my uncle, or whatever. We have the same sense of humor, where me and my mom really don't. So some of those casual conversations don't carry the same.
But I go back to even on part 1 of the episode, how I was saying, like, finding those other ways to communicate and finding those things is shit like that. To where it's like, okay, if you can't talk and get them to accept, yo, why don't you do this with them? Or find that something else that leads to something else. You know what I'm saying?
And, a part of the biggest journey was understanding my mom's story, which I got into a little bit on the first part of the episode. And then seeing, okay, this is how you were raised, this is your parents, and this is what you've been through since then. You moved to a city, you moved away from a situation where you were having to be the head of a household for a situation where your dad is gone, your mom, gambling in the house, but gone doing his thing. Your mom is checked in and out of mental institutions, off on meds. You move away to get some release, finally have time for yourself. You fall in love with your coworker immediately and have a baby. When did you have any time for yourself or whatever?
No healing,
you know what I mean?
Been done. You just life coming at you
life
like that.
coming at you fast. And so having to realize, like, damn, when I'm asking about these things or I have a smart mouth or whatever, it's like, well, I didn't even ask you to be here. Like, you know what I mean? And just like you said, who are your parents before they come here? And getting to know them and having a lot of empathy for what my mom went through. Made me be like, well, why would I ever resent this person? You know what I mean? Like, what tools did they have? And I can actively see them trying to move past that now and addressing their own healing and processing their own stuff. I can do nothing but applaud that. You know what I mean? And so my mom and I are close as we ever been.
Do you have any fear of losing them? And you mentioned mine. Do you have fear of losing your parents, or you think about that, or how you would feel if?
No, I don't have any fear of losing my parents. I don't have any attachment to the way that things are in general. It's definitely something that I've carried with me for a while, but it's something that has been amplified by me exploring the Buddhist tradition, because it has this concept that suffering comes from expectation, and it doesn't mean to be pessimistic, but it just means to be neutral about whatever happens. Or whatever is going to happen. You don't expect things to be a certain way. And the reality of it is the thing that we all have in common is we're all going to die. And so I have no fear of my own death. The one fear that I had of my death, and I still maybe wrestle with, if I'm being honest, is that I don't leave enough jewels to my son. But if I don't wish to, but if I did lose them or one of them, they gave me so much, and I appreciate every moment that we had. And I don't believe that, their presence I'll be without it. And no.
Where does your son have a relationship with your parents?
He does.
Yeah. How you fuck with him?
It's not as strong as I would want it to be.
Because of you or them?
Are those the only options?
I guess if you have a different answer, but I think it has to be either, though, right?
Well,
either you're not coming around enough, or whatever the effort is on one part. I feel like.
Yeah, I think there's like us living in a different city, I guess, is attributed to me. Although he and me and his mom decided to co-parent in the same city, so kind of a collective decision. But I'll take credit for it now since I'm on the hot seat. And I think we're both individuals that are living our lives outside of our sort of like parents' world. But so there's a factor. But I think my son has never lived in the same city as my parents, where he has lived in the same city as his mom's parents before.
Word.
So he's closer to them because he's had that proximity to them. He's been able to hang out with them on a regular basis. And because of that, they have a natural cadence to their conversation and my dad, where like his mom's dad may call him up and FaceTime him and whatever. My dad is not gonna FaceTime a 6-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. He may do it every once. He may do it every once in a while, but it's not gonna be his, regular MO. But like, I don't fault him for that.
Word. I understand that.
But also, like, I'm not really close with my mom's parents because I never lived in the same city with them. You know what I mean? Like, I go see my granny every year, but I talk to her. It's not. I don't have the relationship that my cousins who live in Detroit have with her. You feel me? So, but it's the information age. You can FaceTime whatever. Where I couldn't do that. So I guess it's a little bit on them as well. But my mom, I kind of brought that up with her. Was like, the years are going by, and so if you're talking to them twice a year, that's on you. And she's been calling them more now. So,
word. That shit's real. And that's. I think that was the important thing you said though. Is finding that common ground, bro. It's finding that common ground, whatever that common ground is. And now that you even say that, it makes me identify, like, that's what my mom does with me all the time. Like, my sports team is her sports team. My favorite player is her favorite player. Like, she's rooting for whatever I'm on, you know what I'm saying? Like, she just with that because it gives some bond to her son, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, always keeps that close by, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important, and that's something that the audience can take away from into just steps to getting there, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a friend that I was with. We went out to dinner, and he's discussing, and he's talking about his family. He's talking about his dad and his brother, and it always gets heated. And but he so desperately wants to love them. You know what I'm saying? He wants them to be a better family, but his dad got this problem with him and his brother, and it's just all that. And I really had to, you know what I'm saying, sit with him and tell him, like, because it's affecting him. You know what I'm saying? Affecting him to the point where he feel low and beaten down. And then when you have those family issues, when you have those parent issues, when life comes in the way and you feeling low now, that shit, when you don't have that parent to turn to and go talk to now, that shit really fucks you up. But if you got that parent that you can go hug and cry on or whatever, just be a fucking kid, bro. Go in your daddy arms like a little child or whatever you need to do. You need that, you know what I'm saying? It's a support system for you. And we all out here lonely and scared in a motherfucker at times, you know what I'm saying? So... And that's really something that the audience can resonate with. And
I think we talked about it in the friendship episode. If you haven't checked that out, please do. But friendship, I think it was friendship part 1, where we were talking about being like a relationship and like courting.
All relationships are relationships.
We were talking about being like a romantic relationship, but like that's the point that I'm making. Yeah. Even your relationship with your parent, it mirrors your relationship with your friends or your romantic relationships, because at the end of the day, it's how can I get to know this human being? They reflect a part of me, and I see myself in them. They see themselves in me. How do we make sure that reflection, we can be comfortable with that and not triggered by it, and stay curious about who this person is, to gain some level of understanding and empathy so we can coexist together peacefully. You know what I mean? Like, that's what every relationship is. How can I get my ego out the way enough to love myself enough so that when I see you reflect me, I'm not triggered by it? Because that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
bang. Yeah.
So, I think maybe we should just call this the relationship. This is the non-relationship relationship podcast.
Right. We wasn't trying to dive into relationships, but I mean, fuck, everybody you talk about is relationship. We're not diving into it on the sense of, in the sense of how everybody talks about relationships. We're not talking about
we're not coming
romantic and
it's not who should be buying what at the date.
Yeah, but
it is how to relate to human beings.
And the foundation of all relationships are the same.
I'm gonna say something real quick to the audience, and hopefully a lot of feedback that we've gotten back. I know you've gotten this. I've sent you some screenshots from my world as well. People saying, "Oh, I may not be the target for this, but I like the episode."
Word.
The target is human beings.
The target is human beings.
If you're a biped, you're in. You feel me?
Ages 1 to 99.
Yes, we are black men. We have a unique experience in the world. But at the end of the day, as you all have seen, as we've revealed our truths to you, our truths are universal. You know what I mean? Like we talked about male friendships, for example, or why men cry. but those answers end up being they're afraid, just like everybody else. Or how do we build these friendships? We gain empathy and we seek understanding. Yeah, women do that too. You know what I mean? And our maybe what we may see or be threatened by or be afraid of or be triggered by may be informed by our decision as black men or informed by our existence as black men. But whatever triggers you, we end up at the same place. You know what I mean? Like scared, afraid,
Exactly.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
all human emotion. That's something that I appreciate you even saying that shit, because that's something that needs to really be instilled. This is not a I relate to these niggas podcast because I do bro. We talking about human shit, dog. All the same emotion. We all got the same emotions. We all going through this shit together, dog. There's nothing that we are alone in, dog.
And as you can see, like me and Keith couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
But because we're in touch with our human truths, we relate to each other so much and so deeply. But that's a perfect example of the point. It's not because we have the same experience that we relate to each other. It's because we realize we all going through the same thing at the end of the day.
We all gotta navigate and all be there for each other in this shit, bro. I can't stress enough the grace and compassion and the empathy that we need to be showing each other. And in this episode, it's the family.
Yeah, it's the family, it's the parents.
The family, it's us. It's a bond. If you love your child and you love your parent, make it work by all means. Come to it.
Do you you talked a lot about, being at different points with your parents. When you see yourself in the future as a father, how do you see yourself? Do you see it being easy for you to apply that compassion, that love, that tenderness? Do you understand, or can you even fathom the plight of, I need to make sure there's organization, structure, discipline within this household, and make it a loving environment? And how do I do that? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think about when you think about parenthood?
I mean, I like to think, knowing me, I like to think I'ma handle this, I'ma body this shit, you know what I'm saying? But also know, like, nigga, what if my kid, I know that the outside factors on a kid are major, bro. A kid is spending a lot of time away from you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of those outside factors around. What if I come home, my kid, like, I don't fuck with you, nigga. Like, I don't like how to deal with that kind of shit. I think I'll be able to navigate it well, but I think at the end of the day, in being so secure with myself and being so okay in knowing how to love that I get through it, and I love nigga no matter what. I ain't gonna let nobody fuck around, disturb my peace. I ain't gonna let nobody harm him. But like I'll find a way to make the relationship work. That's my little man. But I know it'll be his motherfucking challenges for sure.
That's the thing. That's your little man.
Yeah.
So that'd be the thing. That's the good and the bad of it.
I know, bro. Trust me.
All right. So that next question: how would you have raised you? How would you have acted in the situation of you being your own father?
Man, when I really look back at it, being my own father,
if you was in your father's shoes, how would you have reacted to some of the stuff that you?
So then, if I'm in my father's shoes, same upbringing, and that trauma's in me, or it's Sakif as the father.
Sakif as the father.
Sakif as the father.
And the son.
I like to think that I think I'd have been the same shit. I would have got in tussles with me for sure. I would have got on no, but I like to think that there would have been a little bit more empathy in some things. But that's also me growing up in this American shit, bro. So I know kind of what's going on out here versus a nigga that didn't know. I had no idea. Kind of just my dad labeled me a thug and think I'm just gonna spend the rest of my life in jail type.
Shorty
shit.
wanted to be.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just like that. That's kind of what it's gonna be. I couldn't never foresee myself putting that kind of label on my son. But that's of no blame to him. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't expect a nigga to see it no other way. If that's how you label a thug is on the shit I'm doing, then okay, then you right. But I think I'm able to see that from a different perspective.
Did you ever self-identify as a thug? Just for
Nah.
the record.
Nah, I ain't never
Okay.
called myself a thug.
You
I might
probably
be thugging,
you
but
probably was like 5 years away from 5 years too young to label yourself a thug.
Nah. But I idolized the thugs. I had Tupac Thug Life poster right in my room.
Well, this I know. This I know. So that's why I was asking. Like, wait, did you see yourself?
Word. But my mom always painted in my head that it had such a negative connotation. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, all right, I ain't gonna say that shit. But you know,
As we're talking about these relationships, and building them, and you know how you would respond, there's kind of two things that I maybe want to like just emphasize. One of them is ego. So you talked about how you would have tussle with you yourself, and a lot of that is ego because you want to make sure people understand who's in charge and force things to be a certain way.
I mean, and you're still a man. Like, if a nigga push you, you still like, oh, all right. Like, everybody got to play it till they get punched in the face. Like,
no, yeah, 100%. But what you talked about before is the proverbial punch in the face, not a literal, being somebody yelling or barking at you, and you responding to that with a hug. Is there a reason why you wouldn't do that as a father? Because you said you should have done that as a son.
Yeah. Shit, as a father, yeah. Now I'm looking at it, yeah, I would. But like anytime I see nigga lashing out, like, I think my first thing is to do that. Like, my approach to father is gonna be very different from all experience. Everything I do in life is pretty much look like the 1% of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I really plan to take a very different approach on how I'm raising and kind of see what that looks like. This like unconditional love, no matter what. I'm gonna try to keep that instilled in my brain that I'm loving the fuck out you no matter what, and we seeing this shit through. I want to see how that looks.
So what you said is like, you know, we still a man at the end of the day. 100%. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to get to a place where I understand my role or my thought process, that thing of like my instinct as a man. Let me just say that, not even role.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get into role, but the instinct as a man is to fight, but it's really to gain control of a situation. And physically is the best way, the way that I feel most seasoned, maybe even how to gain control. But I'm trying to develop ways that even when people bring that to me, I can take control of a situation. Because that's really what I'm trying to do as a man. It's like restore order. Because that's like, you know, a tenet of like sort of divine masculinity, right? But like, I was just talking about, you know what I mean? Like I was brought up.
And as men, we kind of got to get humbled. And yeah, the physical shit might be cool, but like we were talking about earlier, like this nigga gonna be entering his prime one day, and you gonna be coming out of yours. So that physical shit gonna go out the window. So if your way of rule was by physical, what
that's
happened?
the only thing you have.
Yeah, if that's all you got to take, it's kind of like, hey, that shit gonna fizzle out.
Unless you on them brawn PEDs. But anyway, the other thing I want to say though is the way that the ego creeps in is victim mentality. A lot of people feel victimized by their parents. But I think a lot of times when you have that victim mentality, it's you seeing everybody else's struggle only as how it affects you, not how it affects them. As if they specifically said, I hate this child that I brought forward. I like you so little. I want to create this world around you that is so miserable for you that I am purposely doing all that. You know what I mean? Like your parents aren't purposely trying to, most of the time, 95% of the time, let's say, they're not purposely trying to do that. But I think a lot of people walk around with that, like, they hate me, or they did this, or they betrayed me, as if they wanted to lie to you about their family secret, or as if they wanted to embarrass you or hurt you.
They came out with the goal to fuck your whole shit up.
As if they wanted to even not, I think we talked about like religion and all these constructs making people disown people in their family. That tears them up. Parents hate that they hate that they're living to the standard that you don't live to, and they hate that they don't have the courage to walk away from it like you did. So they're resenting your courage when they're doing some of that stuff. And all you see is they don't let me be me. Like you're not even looking at that, you know, from their perspective. So I think my point is just ego makes us see things in a warped way, or makes us react to things in a warped way. And if we could just temper the ego a bit, I think we can forgive much quicker and much sooner, or much more deeply. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our episodes will falter on an ego check and kind of even just a thinking, a simply thinking about it different. When those people, bro, I know people that don't speak to their parents for the bullshit, for some little dumb shit, bro. Like, boy, you wasting years with your mama and your daddy like that. This shit don't go forever, my nigga. Like, you gonna be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, fix that shit, repair that shit. But in checking that ego and really thinking these thoughts through, bro. Why my mom do that? Why my dad do that? Is it really that they don't like me, or what's happening? Like, really get into that with yourself and take that time, bro. The same way we take the time for all the bullshit we consume and feed. Like, yo, like, niggas consume so much bullshit and engage in so much bullshit conversation and watch so much bullshit and do all of this, but are we taking the time to learn our people and understand our people and love our people? I hope that this conversation resonate with you and you like, you right. You know what I mean? I wanna think about these things differently. You know what I'm saying? I spent a lot of time thinking about my family, boy.
Yeah, 100%.
I spent a lot of time thinking about my family, man.
I see it. That's one of the things, like, and I mentioned it before, you're so intentional about the relationship building. And you've admitted that some of it comes from a fear of loss, but I think it ultimately ends up in a place where you've gotten now, was like repair relationships within your family. But it wasn't by happenstance.
Right.
It was by recognizing this is something I want. How do I make this happen? I can't go forever acting like this doesn't matter to me. And there's that vulnerability even in that, in admitting something bothers you, in admitting you wish you had acted differently, you wish things had gone another way.
We're both older siblings, so we both have siblings where we showing them just by example of, look, this is what we doing now. Like my brother, like when we was beefing and shit, he partaking in the beef with us. Now we ain't on that shit no more. It's nothing but love. So now if you got any smoke, I'm coming at you. Ain't gonna be no smoke. We loving up in this bitch.
We love it.
We loving up in this bitch. That's it.
That's definitely. I know a little bit, but I'm sure. Man, our siblings take on so much of us that's like they ride whatever way
they
we
ride.
are.
Like, hey, we ain't on that shit. We ain't fighting pops no more. We loving that nigga, so stop that shit.
My sister done been with me through some waves, boy.
Yeah. But we hold that responsibility, you know what I'm saying? But then it shows them, and it's the trickle down effect, you know what I'm saying? So, but I really appreciate y'all for rocking. What you think? We covered everything?
I think we have, man. You know, I'm over here looking at my notes just to make sure.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think we done did it.
I mean, also something that I guess we could ask from the audience is like, we want to really, and we get a lot of feedback, you know what I'm saying? We get feedback, but we here to hear y'all stories, you know what I'm saying? We would love to
100%.
To really get into it. We not saying that we about to be y'all therapist or anything like that, but we would love more engagement.
Nah, it's all love.
Yeah, it's all love. We're
here for the convos.
Yeah, we want to hear the conversations. If you going through things and you feel like people don't got a plethora of people to talk to, bro.
Or like, it doesn't have to be you're going through something. Maybe you just wanted to know more about something we said, or maybe you have a perspective that counters ours. I love that. Like, you know, people have called me like, I think y'all missed out on this part. Let's talk about it.
Niggas used to think I like argued a lot, but I'm just a nigga that I love hearing me be wrong. I just want you to make sure that you can prove. I would love for somebody to share some insight or anything. That I love thinking a different way, bro.
Yeah, and I think like I learned by questioning things, so people thought I was arguing. Like, I'm asking you because I'm learning. I'm trying to figure out why is that, so I can figure it out.
Just like a kid when they ask
but
why.
Even on some stuff that, like, I think you guys probably noticed in this point in our life, we're not really confrontational for the sake of being confrontational. We want to hear. I'm learning. Like, I had a whole voice note conversation with somebody on the self-love and violence episode. Just about the effects of hip hop, how they see it. You know what I mean? And like, I love to get those perspectives. So
it's dope. And it's dope too when we get them and shit like that. But the thing is, like, when if people put this shit out in public and create so much more convo, like, oh, this person was thinking the exact same shit I was thinking. This person was thinking like, yo, we ain't never alone in this shit. You know what I'm saying? So
if y'all want us to go live, Twitter Spaces, something whatever, so we can actually, you know, have some of those conversations. We can start to think about that too.
Let us know, but we're gonna wrap this one up. Love y'all.
Stay Dangerous Podcast. Love you, my nigga.
You know what I'm saying? We out. Holla.